I need a drink. Oh, I need some Tums.
I kind of do too. Alright.
Smoothies for the lady. The hardtack for the men. Here's a little criteria how we narrow down our top 10 or how we came to our top 10. For me personally, I weighed value versus price paid a little bit. That wasn't the sole, weight.
Right.
But I also, how much I enjoyed the record. That was first and foremost.
Yes.
Then value to price paid. And then I cut out anything that was given to me. I just didn't want it to seem like I was playing favorites or anything like that. I think I mentioned this in last year's video as well. Tons and tons of generous gifts from viewers and people I know through Facebook, things like that. Thanks to everybody that sent us anything at all. It's much appreciated. And just because we're not showing it doesn't mean we don't love it.
Absolutely. A genuine thanks to all who contributed this year. Yeah. I take a different spin on that. I usually like to show at least one record from that was vinyl love given out. Last year it happened to be my number one record. Was a gift because it meant so much to me.
Yeah, for sure.
This year, again, my thanks to everyone who sent us anything. I just kind of consider that a category that I want to express thanks to all by showing one record and saying thank you. This one meant a lot to me. Not that it was in any way, I guess, more loved or more appreciated than any others. It's just the record that I wanted most, that someone was incredibly generous to send to me.
Yeah.
I also do, in some ways, consider price point and value and things like that. So my first few records are in my steal of a deal category, but that actually ended up happening randomly, that just the first three records, 10 through 8, were things that I feel I got a really good deal on.
Yeah.
Other stuff, if I came up with a category, I'll let you know. We will tell you what we spent for everything, and then at the end we'll wrap it up by telling you our average price for our top 10.
And we haven't seen each other's picks ahead of time. We don't know them. We haven't discussed them. This is a total surprise to both of us. So
be prepared to watch visceral reactions of the other person. I'm also not going to lie. Part of my criteria was what's going to make Matt Sanders jealous, because his made me so jealous last year. Okay, now we have like a 10-minute setup.
It's all good.
Part 1. Okay,
both have context.
My number 10 record from 2015, my number 10 vinyl find. Again, this kicks off my steal of a deal category. I paid $2.99 for The Inner Sounds of the Id. And boy, is it awesome. This was just in the cheapo bin at the Exclusive Company in Janesville, Wisconsin.
Steal of a deal is an understatement.
Steal of a deal,
so
$2.99. The Inner Sounds of the Id, The Rake, the title track, Don't Think Twice. Oh,
it's so good. Boy,
this is deep. It was Exploito-Psych to some people, but really this was just professional musicians doing their version of Psych and doing a great job of it.
Yeah. And very early Psych.
Yes.
This is early 67.
So don't feel like, don't knock it just because they were studio crew or studio rat guys. They are awesome. Check out The Inner Sounds of the Id.
Oh, that's awesome.
Number 10.
Jelly.
A little hotter, and let me see it gleam.
My number 10. I actually found 2 copies of this album this year. One I sent as VCLT to somebody, and the other one is in my collection. And both copies I paid $15 for, which is a steal of a deal in itself. Number 10 is The Troll, animated music. We've played quite a bit from this this
we
year.
have.
Specifically, Werewolf and Witch Breath. We played that on our Halloween show, and a couple other times this year, I'm sure. This comes across like Cash In or Exploito-Psych a little bit, but boy, it's so good. Professor Potts' pornographic projector is really good. Mr. Abernathy.
And I love the graphic representation of all the tracks in the cartoony. It's so cool.
This is a pretty rare album. I don't know. Average on Discogs is like $75.
Ooh.
Both copies for $15 this year. I don't think people know. It's a little bit under the radar still. Yeah. This one's one kind of climbing up in value a little bit. So I was really happy to find this. Cross this off the want list. This is one you may not be familiar with, but it's one to check out. Just like the Id was, I think. Deep stuff and good stuff.
My number 9.
Number 9.
Find.
Number 9.
Number 9. Also in my steal of a deal category, and I'm putting this one in what I'm a subcategory just called weird and rare.
Oh yeah.
Head. Instrumental deep space rock. 3 tracks on the album. Cannabis Sativa, which is side 1. Methadrine. And lysergic acid diethylamide, which of course LSD, all that fun stuff there. If you find the album, it'll say, inside you will find something colorful to do with your hands while listening to this album. And this one does have the coloring book.
It's just so
It's
cool.
the weirdest stuff. And not a mark on it. So, anyway, average price on Discogs for this one, between 90 and 100.
Ooh.
I paid 30.
Nicely done.
Oh,
Nicely
man.
done.
People for whom Pink Floyd is a little bit too mainstream, check this out. If Adam Hart Mother is just too poppy for you, this is it.
Yeah. Alright, this is my number 9 pick from the St. Louis Record Show. About $7, give or take a little bit.
Nice.
The Electric Prunes Underground.
Ooh, oh, I love it so much.
Dr. Do-Good, The Great Banana Hoax. Amazing. I love it. Long Day's Flight. Oh, it's just so good.
My jealousy has kicked in already.
Yeah. This is a mono copy. A little bit rare mono copy of this. The guy had it marked at $10, and I bundled it with another record. This is deep. Like, their first album, the self-titled album, I Had Too Much to Dream Last Night. Fantastic.
Garage Psych.
Great Garage Psych.
Oh.
This is just deep. They dove deep into Psych. They left it in the garage, and they
This is
they
high
went to
on my
space.
want list.
This is, oh, it's so good.
They took a trip right to space
They
from
did.
the garage. Yep.
Underground sums it up. This is underground, deep, weirdo Psych. Lots of like up-tempo stuff though. The Great Banana Hoax for me, the first track, side 1. Oh, again, Feminine Man. Oh, it's just so good.
Here's my, man, I'm just glad I got that record at that price.
Oh, I'm excited. What is it? Oh yeah, yeah.
Sunshine Superman. Not super rare, but this is a first pressing. I would call this a VG++ cover.
Yeah, that's
It just looks great, and the record sounds great, and I love me some Donovan.
I do too.
Oh, Epic Records, you know, nothing super special about this other than the condition and the fact that I paid $6 for it.
Yeah, solid.
Oh, man, I'm pretty sure we've played 8, if not 9, of the tracks from this on the radio show.
It's so good.
This is a phenomenal pop psych album.
It is. It is.
Donovan is the sex symbol British poet of the 60s that I want his music to soundtrack my dreams. I love it so much.
My number 8, I'm cheating a little bit. I'm going to show 2 records in one pick. The Grateful Dead, Anthem of the Sun, and their self-titled debut.
Okay.
We both have mentioned numerous times, including a
humor.
recent video.
Yeah.
We're not big Grateful Dead guys. We host a psychedelic radio show, and we're kind of like, is that a Grateful Dead track? And who was in the group again? And this year, I found both of these albums, and it's clicked a little bit.
Okay.
Their self-titled album is sort of a garagey, nugget-style psych album. Fantastic. But they do a little jamming on here.
Yes.
And then you go to Anthem of the Sun, where it's a lot of jamming, really deep stuff. And then you start to transition out of that into more of that country rock, jam band kind of stuff. And then it all sort of, like, it all comes together in one sort of amalgamation where you're like, ah, I get why people dig this so much. And for me, these 2 albums, I played the crap out of them this year, especially Anthem of the Sun. The Grateful Dead, the self-titled, will get more play this year. It was, it was a little later in the year for me. $5 for one, $7 for the other.
Oh, heck
so
yeah.
for what, $12 for both? I'm pleased.
My number 7 pickup of the year is my VCLT love.
Ah, very nice.
Also, admittedly, I do include this because it is a zero. It costs me nothing, and so it brings down my average price. But I cannot help but give a heartfelt thanks to DJ Bo Grumpus for Saucerful of Secrets. This was the early Floyd album that I wanted the most, and DJ Bo Grumpus came through for me. I know he didn't like it, but Bo, it was so generous of you to send this my way. Piper at the Gates of Dawn was my #1 record of last year.
Yeah.
It was some vinyl love that was sent from a friend, and so just sort of continuing that tradition in just absolute thankfulness to those who trade Pink Floyd with me, as I love Pink Floyd so much.
That's awesome.
Oh, and just Bo, stand out, man. You're the real MVP.
All right, my number 7, lucky number 7, Ultimate Spinach self-titled album.
I figured we would be seeing this.
Yes.
Very nice.
Oh, I love this album. I had Beholden Sea. Beholden Sea, their second album, was a really early find for me when I started collecting. I found it at the Dollar Bin when I lived in Carbondale, and it was sort of around the time where I was sort of getting into psych, and that was one that was like, oh man, I want to find more like this. And then fast forward 5 or 6 years, and I found their first album at Reverb in Bloomington for, I believe, $13.
Nice.
This is deep, cool.
It's the ultimate Spinach.
It is the ultimate Spinach, and it's an ultimate trip. I listened to it for the first time on this couch, lights off, lava lamp on, and it took me away.
My number 6 pickup of the year. I'm putting this in the category called Jealousy Generator. Found this Beale Street Records, $15.
Oh!
Them again. That is the exact reaction that I wanted, Effeminate Man and. Could you, would you? The opening track on side 1, honestly, Van Morrison's delivery, he wrote the song, his delivery of the vocal on that is exactly what I want in White Soul. I mean, he is doing everything he can to be Otis Redding and Mick Jagger all in one. It is so good. There is not a track on this that I don't like. Could You, Would You is my #1 track on this.
It's really good, man.
But everything on this record it's just everything I want from this group.
And a great cover of It's All Over Now, Baby Blue. Really, really good cover.
Which, I can't think of a Dylan song that there's better covers of.
Yeah.
That's the #1 Dylan song to cover for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh,
Oh man, what a fight. Alright, my number 6. This is from the last St. Louis record show.
Recent find.
Recent find.
More recent.
It is a more recent find, but this was on my want list for about a year and a half. Didn't think I'd ever find it in person. Found it. It's not like super rare, but it's not an easy one to find. This is Blue Mountain Eagle. Self-titled, on Atco. Man, this got reissued for Record Store Day either this year or last year.
Oh, really?
It did. And I almost popped on the reissue. And then the same guy I got that Link Ray album from had this for like $5.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah.
But they kind of have that bluesy, kind of jammy vibe a little bit, but nothing's real long. Longest track on here is 4.5 minutes, so they don't get too noodly like the Grateful Dead does on their later albums. But they know how to throw in a good guitar solo. They know how to let kind of tracks breathe a little bit.
They just look like regular dudes.
They
and
do.
I love that.
They do, and they just they play the crap out of this music on here. And I was pumped to find this. This is my favorite find from that St. Louis record show, and made my number 6 in our top 10 of 2015.
We need to switch over to part 2. So stay tuned. If this was part of your lunch break, we hope you see you tomorrow.